The College Basketball Experience Summer Coaches Tour, Northwestern State head coach Rick Cabrera edition of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. You can win 325 times your entry with their new Pick 8. Sign up today using that promo code TCESGPN to claim your special pick and first-time deposit offer up to $250 bonus in cash. Underdog Fantasy promo code TCESGPN. And we're also brought to you by Rhythm. Get the best data-driven props and picks over at Rhythm. Claim your 7-day free trial today by going over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That is the sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM today. And welcome, everybody, to the College Basketball Experience, part of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. Thursday night, June the 13th, we're rolling along in the college basketball offseason. If you're wondering who you're listening to, I am Moneyline Mac, a.k.a. the former video coordinator for Bob Huggins and Frank Martin. Also known as Mac Tonight over at the College Basketball Experience. And hey, we got another coach's tour interview ready to kick it off here in a little bit. Coach Cabrera is stopping by the College Basketball Experience. Rick Cabrera and I go back a ways. We worked at Austin P together. We were governors, as we like to say. Good times there. We won a lot of games in our 2 years together on the same staff. One of the most tight-knit coaching staffs I've ever been a part of. It was fun, man. We shared some stories. He's got a hell of a background, great family. His wife, Danielle, his kids, Jaden, Braxton, and Landon, and just walking through how much his old man, Hugo Cabrera, influenced his career. But first, before we get to that interview, I got to pay the bills because, well, if you want to get on over there and look at a little bit of college baseball this weekend, the road to Omaha, join Noah Beanick over at the College Baseball Experience live every single night on YouTube.com, and is available for download on all platforms for daily coverage in the picks. The greatest show on the dirt, the College World Series, until the end of June. And we're also brought to you by Circa Survivor and Circa Millions. Sign up in Vegas and play from anywhere with the footballproxy.com. Promo code SGP to get $50 off. That's footballproxy.com. Promo code SGP. All righty, I've teased it long enough. Let's get to the next edition of the Summer Coaches Tour. With further ado, I introduce Rick Cabrera, head coach of the Northwestern State Demons. And we continue our Summer Coaches Tour on the College Basketball Experience with the head coach of the Northwestern State Demons, Rick Cabrera. Hee-ho, what's up, man?
What's going on, Ryan? First and foremost, man, I appreciate you having me on this. Like you are a stud, you're a rising star in this business, and I'm so excited to be a part of this with you.
Well, I appreciate it, man. We go way back, our days as governors, as we like to say. But just fill everybody what you've been doing. I know the season ended early March. Other than refreshing the transfer portal every 10, 15 minutes, what you been up to?
Man, so listen, we have, finished our roster. We got some good players, some good high character young men. This is my time. I played some golf. I shot an 83 the other day, Ryan. I'm actually a lot better than when I was with you. But it's been busy time, man. My staff does a phenomenal job, and we got these guys on campus, and we're just chopping wood every day, and and getting better, and I vow to not have a season like I did my first year.
Yeah, I know it was tough on you your first year. It didn't do any favors at your league. It definitely took a step up as well. But we'll talk about your team here in a little bit. I want to go. I want to rewind. You grew up in New York City. You played at Tennessee Tech, so you were a Golden Eagle. You played at Vincennes before that in the JUCO days. Just talk a little bit about your playing career growing up. I know your old man was such an influence as well on you.
Yeah, no, I mean, like I've been fortunate enough, obviously coming out of New York City, uh, playing, with and against some really, really, really good players that have played in the NBA and played long seasons professionally. And then when I went off to Vincennes, Tyrone Nesby, who was my college roommate, played in the NBA for 4 years. We're still good friends today. Sean Marion, like he came in the year after I left, but I was his host on the visit, and I got him to sign on the visit. But Sean has been a great guy, and then going on to play Division One, which was always a dream of mine. Out of Vincennes, it all worked out well, and my dad was very influential of allowing me to meet some people, in my playing career, which actually helped me in my coaching career. Matt Figure uh,
UMass now.
well, yeah, I'm sorry, at UMass. At the time when I was at Vincennes, he was the assistant coach there. He was a 25-year-old assistant coach. So I was able to meet so many people through those paths of New York, Vincennes, Tennessee Tech, and develop relationships, which is so important in this business. And here I am.
Here you are, man. And you know what I always respected when we worked together is I could always pick your brain about the different stops that you had. You mentioned it playing at Vincennes with Nesby, Sean Marion, the pros. Then you paid your dues after once you got done playing. Volunteer Christian, Tennessee Tech as a GA, Miami Killian, Keystone College. I may have missed one or two, but I know
You're right.
I mean, you grinded for the first 5-6 years. You didn't just get hired because you had a prize player like some of these guys do now. You earned what you got, and that was being a head coach at Lackawanna Community College, and I believe that's in Pennsylvania, where you met your wife. Correct?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right. My memory's still good, so that's good. Talk about just the experience, your first tenure as being a head coach at the JUCO level, because I know recently you were as well, but just your first time being a head coach after being an assistant for years.
No, listen, I was 28 years old when I was the head coach at Lackawanna, and Lackawanna at the time was one of the better JUCOs in the country. In Division II junior college, they had just went to a national championship game, I think the year before. The university, the college was very supportive of athletics. Like their football program is high level even to this day. So they were able. I mean, like they've had guys like at least 10 to 12 guys in the last 20 years, in the NBA. And so I was going into Lackawanna as a young head coach, into a program that had tradition. I mean, like I felt pressure to win. Like they wanted to win, and 28 years old. I mean, in my mind, I was still playing. I was playing in men's leagues. I still thought I was a hooper.
Yeah.
But that like that time there, like I had really good players, and they made me a good coach. I'm not going to sit here and because I learned a lot during that time, but I really didn't learn a lot until I got to Division One. Like you understood the difference between junior college and Division One, the organization, like the networking. It was just elite. But those 4 years allowed me to coach some great young men who I'm still friends with. So they're married, older with families, and it's a cliche. A lot of coaches say, "Hey, man, I get in this business to impact lives," and
Mm-hmm.
some people may look at it as, "Oh, that's BS. You guys just want to win and make money." that's not the case. Now, I could say it's changed. Just because it's so hard to develop relationships with kids, because it's kind of year to year. But I'm always sticking to my old roots, and I was able to develop some great friendships and with young men at Lackawanna, even up till today.
That's great. And Rick's being very humble, everybody. He won 100 games in 4 years. He was 129. He was pretty damn successful. So don't let him sell you short. But Rick, from there, you go to Chattanooga. You work for Coach Schulman. You guys have success. Tennessee Tech, and then you leave your alma mater, which I know was an extremely hard decision. We've talked about it at length at every day when we went to lunch together at Austin Peay, which was your next stop. Talk about that. Was that the hardest decision, leaving your alma mater to come to Austin Peay? Because, I mean, I remember the first time we went back, Austin Peay, to go play Tennessee Tech. It was every other person giving you a hug. Like, you could tell how beloved you were in that community. You were a player there, GA there, assistant. Hopefully one day the head coach there, but we'll talk about that another time. But I mean, how hard was that decision? I know that weighed on you.
Well, I mean, it was extremely hard because, like one of my sons were born there. The other two were raised there. Steve Payne, was a great friend. So it's never easy walking into, a coach who gave you an opportunity to coach at the alma mater, to say, hey, I'm leaving, especially in league.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I can tell you this. I cried, when I told him. It hurt. Had a lot of relationships there and still do to this day. So I mean, I'll be honest, from a professional standpoint, that was the toughest thing to deal with. And even going back, like you said, going back and, seeing everybody, it was still hard. Just knowing we still had a good team at Austin Peay, but it was, it was hard, and but the winning took care of it, and I got over it pretty quickly.
Yeah, I remember the first time we went back, I was like, this team's damn good. Why'd you leave me? You're like, I recruited all these guys. I go, God damn, bring some over here. Now you can transfer in league with no repercussions. Back then there actually were a couple of rules. But and I know leaving Austin Peay was hard as well. I mean, we had won 20 plus games at the time, back-to-back years. We had that thing rolling. You go to Arkansas State for a couple years, and then that gets you to Tallahassee Community College, where you're head coach again. What was the biggest difference? You talk about it, like it was kind of like the light went on a little bit after Lackawanna, where you learned the business side of things. What was the difference between your first stop at the junior college as a head coach versus the second time at Tallahassee, which is a premier JUCO in this country?
Well, the wealth of knowledge I was able to gain from the people that I worked for in those 13 years as a Division I assistant, allowed me to be a lot more prepared and understand the importance of scouting and recruiting and the type of level of guys you got to have, at Tallahassee. In my opinion, that's a borderline low major talent Division I league.
Absolutely.
So I knew going in there, just, especially taking over from coaches that have won there, that, I have to be on my P's and Q's, to continue the winning tradition that program has had. So it was no holds barred, man. You had to be locked in recruiting. You were competing against Donnie Tyndall at Chipola every night, and Steve DeMayo and Greg Heyer. Like those dudes were some dogs, and I'm saying that in a good way. But being in Division I prepared me that you must keep the same routine in recruiting and relationships, at that level at Tallahassee than you did it, you at Division I. Now, moving over 12 to 18 inches from the assistant seat to the head coaching seat, again, it was like a new start for me, because of that 13-year gap. It was times during the year I felt like I was a first-year coach.
Yeah.
But I also learned from a lot of coaches I worked for, that helped me go in there and win some ball games as well.
I want to expand upon that. You mentioned that you work for Coach Schulman, who just got the Central Arkansas job recently. I'm looking forward. I think he's going to turn that thing around quick. Hopefully, we can get him on this show as well. Steve Payne at Tennessee Tech. We both worked for Matt Figger, who's now back reunited with Frank up at UMass, and then Bellato at Arkansas State. Was there something that you took just from each and every one of those coaches that helped you? I know there was a couple times you would text me and be like, "Hey, what was the alignment on that drill we would do at Austin B?" And I would I remember drawing it up on a piece of paper and
Yeah.
screenshotting it to you. I remember that. But was there just something you took from each and every one of those guys along the way?
Yeah, no, I'm forever indebted to Coach Schulman. Coach Schulman, I've known since my playing days. He came in with Jeff Lebo after my senior year, because my head coach retired at the time. And Coach Schulman gave me my first Division I job at 32. And that dude is a stud of a human. He's a stud of a coach. He knew basketball, and working under him, coming from as a head coach or running your program, no matter the level, it's still you're being a head coach. But then going to being an assistant, I think I might have been like third assistant there. But just watching him operate and network with people and just converse, and it was, I'll be honest, that dude was elite at what he did.
Yeah.
And I learned from, Steve Payne was phenomenal. That's my guy. We talk probably once a week. He was a really good defensive coach. He gave you freedom in coaching. Coach Fig, like we talked about. It was great to work for him. He didn't even involve himself in scouts, and we also had some good players, a la Terry Taylor and
It helped.
Jimmy's
and
Mike
Joe's,
baby. Yeah, no doubt. And then, when I go to Arkansas State, which is a little league higher in the Sun Belt, you see the talent change a little bit, I learned things from Mike Bellato, and I got everything from all four of those guys, and in this business you got to be innovative, but you also steal from certain things, from other coaches. So I was able to do that.
Absolutely. And then, so part two of that question, you're coaching in a new era. So your first time around being a head coach, it was, like I said, I made the joke about, hey, why can't we get a couple of those Tennessee Tech guys on our team at Austin P? Well, you could damn go out and do that now with no repercussions, transfer in league. What's it been like your first year? Every year gets crazier. So it's not crazy to say your first year as a head coach at the Division I level was the craziest year in college basketball with the COVID senior, the NIL, the portals, on and on and on. What's been the biggest thing you've learned just with these crazy times, navigating that through on a day-to-day basis?
Man, great question. Listen, I'm forever indebted, and I wake up every morning being grateful to be a Division I head coach. That's been my dream. I'll be honest, I didn't think I'd get that out of junior college, but my relationships, like we talked about, was able to help me. But where I'm going with this is, the dynamics, of Division I basketball right now is tough. And I came into a situation where, I needed 13 new guys that I had to sign in 7 weeks. A lot of people say, hey, don't make excuses. And I'm not making excuses, but that's the reality that we're in. And that's not, like you said, when we were at Austin P, we didn't have to deal with that. We had returners, Chris Porter Button, Zach Glider, Trey Ivory. Those dudes returned.
Yep.
It was a struggle, but I'm not the only one that's dealing with it. And one thing I've learned as I've gotten a little older and wiser is try not to complain about things you can't control. You just got to adapt with it and recruit good players. And, as long as I do my job and work every day and give my all to this program and to this community, then I'm fine with the results.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, that's all you can do. Rick, let me ask, and I go on record every night on this show and say, the guys that have been junior college coaches make really good Division I coaches because they've had to wear every single hat, do every single job, grind. And honestly, I feel like Division I has turned into a junior college where you're recruiting basically a whole new roster. Does your different junior JUCO experiences help you now with the different eras that we're in now?
100%. And I tell you why, because my first year, um, at Tallahassee, I had to bring in a whole new team except for one guy. My second year, I had one guy returning, and I had to sign a whole nother 13, 14 guys. And I didn't lose much sleep over it. Now, with that being said, although the talent in that conference is very similar to the talent in the Southland, it's similar, not all the way there, but similar. Like I didn't lose too much sleep on the recruiting part in JUCO. I knew that I was going to have good players.
Yeah.
Now, where it transferred in is that now at the Division I level, there's more competition. There's a lot of kids you're recruiting that says, "Hey, Coach McNeese called me yesterday. I'm considering them. New Orleans called me yesterday. I'm considering them." And in JUCO, you got about 8 to 10 teams you got to compete against. In the Panhandle Conference. In Division I, you got a bunch of low to mid-major teams you got to compete against. But it allowed my staff and I hired guys that had relationships, that knew coaches that were going to say, "Hey, in a perfect world, I would love for them to give us a player, but it doesn't work like that anymore." But they allowed us to get inside, to get a chance to really know that player more than some other coaches, and it helped us out.
Absolutely. And Rick, I remember you were going through a head coaching search at one time for a job you were going after, and I remember you asking about, hey, how do you go about assembling your staff? And you knew who your staff was. And looking at your staff now, I know your associate head coach, Coach Fig, another Coach Fig. Everybody's like all these Coach Figs, but Anthony Fig, who has been he was with you at Lackawanna. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And then,
Yep, for 4 years. Mm-hmm.
yeah. So you've got guys that know you, been around you, and you're bringing back the same staff next year. Talk about the continuity of your guys' staff. Just watching your games, I could tell you guys got good chemistry. You guys get along, and everybody's pulling the same way. Just talk about the importance of having a good staff in this time and age.
No. I mean, staff chemistry is so important, man, and you know it. When we were at Austin P, we were so locked in, bro. We would all go to lunch together. We
Every
go
day.
here, we go there, and the players see that, right?
Yep.
Yeah, like the players understand how important our staff was connected, and our staff here is the exact same way. We laugh, we joke, we don't always agree. Like we have our debates, but at the end of the day, we care about each other and we all want the best, because we have families to feed as well. So, I get in this business. I want every one of these men to move on at some point. But they understood the assignment was to build this program to be really good. And, and then they'll make future decisions at that time. But it was important for me to have them come back and like we locked in recruiting, just the vetting process and recruiting. Now, like you said, with this climate of recruiting, so the vetting process has to be very extensive, man, because you can make a lot of mistakes on character if you rush.
Yeah.
So for example, like I told you, when I first got here, we had to sign 13 guys. Well, this year, I had to sign 10. I had 3 returning.
You got a lot
But
coming back.
yeah, right. Like I had some move on, on their own, and some move on from NIL or what have you. But the importance of just getting to know these kids, like I told myself after this season, I'm not coaching any bad dudes.
Yeah.
Not doing it. And my staff did a great job of vetting these young men, and obviously you got to have talent. I'm not dumb. You got to have talent, but you also got to have some good guys that's willing to be coached. And that's what we did. And I'm excited with this team.
100%, man. What's the old saying you used to say? You can put your head down at night knowing but I'm not going to get a call at 3 a.m. from the police. So-and-so's arrested. You need to bail them out. So that's worth something, man. And you can coach X's and O's rather than effort and character. So you can't put a price on that. You were raised in a basketball family. I talked about your dad a little bit. I know he was the biggest impact on your career. I just 2 times I think I met him because he would come up for Christmas break and Thanksgiving. Just talk about Hugo and just the impact, not only on you but just the people around it. Like he was big time. He was big time. But yeah, how great he was for you growing up.
No, and I mean when he was alive, man, I didn't brag about him to other people just because I didn't want people to be like, he's just bragging about his dad. But now that he's passed and going on, I mean, like that dude was big time. I mean, like he's the reason why I played, because as a young man, I was able to see him play. I was a ball boy on his team in the Dominican Republic. And, like I've seen a crowd of 10, 15,000 chanting his name. And I'm like, yo, that's my pops. Him getting drafted in 79 or 76 by the Bucks. So he had a tryout with the Knicks and then he made a living playing overseas, but he was just so impactful. He did a little coaching professionally after his career, and then coached high school in Miami. But I mean, like he's the reason I do this. My high school coach was also, and I know you didn't bring him up, but my high school coach played for Coach K at Army.
Okay.
And he's, like he passed away from cancer about 8 years ago, at a young age. I mean, I think he was 51. His name was Joe McGinnis. And like, he's the reason why I coach college basketball. Like that dude taught me how to coach, man. And so those 2 guys are really, really impactful in my professional career. And, like I got a picture of both of them, in my car. So I get to see them every day. But yeah, my dad was my hero, man. And that dude, was a machine.
He was, man. And rest in peace. And he's with you every single day. Your other members of your family, your wife she's a machine, Danielle. She's the absolute best. And you guys have 3 kids, Jaden, Braxton, and my man Landon. I see the Instagram videos now. I'm like, man, they've got him bigger. Damn, a lot of times pass. Braxton, tell him he's going to come on the show when he commits to wherever he's going to be playing his college ball. But just talk about your wife Danielle and as well as your three sons.
Danielle is the backbone of I call her the CEO of the house.
Yeah.
She's I mean everything that a coach can ask for in a wife. She understands the assignment in a good way. Like there's going to be good days, bad days. One thing she doesn't do is that she doesn't take my side just because she's my wife. Whenever I come home and I talk to her about certain things, if I'm wrong, she lets me know I'm wrong. And that is what makes me, like kind of see a grand scheme of things, because some people go home and vent and be like, well, she's my wife. She's going to listen to me and take my side. She's going to listen, but she may not always take my side. And she loves these kids. One of the kids one of our kids transferred, and he was a really good kid. I didn't want him to leave, but I completely understood. And she cried her eyes out. I'm like, what are you crying for? He left here. But that's the kind of person she is, man. And my boys are machines, man. Jaden obviously is the oldest. When he was at Austin P, he was maybe 10.
Yeah.
Like he's coming to Northwestern State next year. He just graduated high school. Braxton's a freshman, going to be a sophomore. He's the hooper playing AAU, playing team practice. I mean, team ball. And Landon, like you said, so Landon was here at practice today, and that's all he wants to see is our guys.
Yeah.
So he's playing baseball and basketball. Like he wanted to be, his Dominican baseball player today. His chain was
Yeah.
on, and because they had baseball camp, so he goes. But I'm blessed that they're healthy. I'm blessed just to, like to have them as my family.
Well, and you talk about how high character your guys are, and you want them around your kids. I mean, if that's the whole thing. If I can have you around my son, then you're a high character enough guy to play for me. Rick, I know I've asked you a lot, and it's been great catching up, man. It's been too long. One last question, just for everybody watching right now, the Northwestern State fan base, when they get to see this interview. What would you say you guys pride yourself on, like your pillar of the program, backbone, as we head into year number 2 of the Rick Cabrera era?
Yeah, man, we we are going to be extremely tough, extremely physical. If you could have those two things at the start of practice, because you recruit talent. Yeah, well, at least you think you recruit talent.
Yeah.
Right? So you recruit talent, but then you add those things and you add coachability. People are going to see a huge talent upgrade of our team this year. And they're going to see guys that enjoy being here and that, who are going to love being a part of the community. This is a small town, and they love their basketball here. And one thing they know about our program from last year, we played hard. Like we weren't overly talented. We had great dudes in certain areas, but one thing that we're going to do every day, we're going to be everyday dudes, man, and that's the staple, and that's the reason why you're able to have summer workouts, so you can preach those pillars of your program. So when the fans do come in November, December, January, February, they see that and understand the assignment of what it takes to win.
Absolutely. And I know you're going to get this thing going next year. I mean, you guys play in a heck of a league too. I mean, nobody really saw what McNeese was going to be. I mean, for them to go 30-3, so that's a standard. But you're going to give them everything that they got, and there's other good teams in this league, good coaches. David Kiefer, friend of the program at Southeast Louisiana. But I know you guys are building it the right way there, and the wins are going to come this year. So,
no doubt.
Ricky, it was great catching up. Thank you for stopping by the College Basketball Experience. Best of luck this season. I will be your biggest fan, of course, and look forward to having you on again, brother.
Hey, thanks for having me, man. Friendship for life, man. You're my guy, man. I got you.
Hey, and please tell your family, Danielle, I said hello, and we need to play some golf again,
yes,
like the olden days, baby. So
absolutely, man. I appreciate you so much, man.
Thanks, Ricky. See you, man.
All right, brother.
Rick Cabrera, head coach of the Northwestern State Demons. Awesome dude. I hope everybody enjoyed that sit-down interview. Ricky and I go way back. Like he alluded to, man, that staff at Austin P that we had was extremely tight, and it was one of the reasons why we won a bunch of games in the 2-year stint. It helped having good players like Terry Taylor, who's in the NBA, but man, as good a human being as he is, better human being than he is basketball coach. Compliment intended there. But real quick, before we get out of here, we got to talk about Underdog Fantasy, because Pick 8 is now live for the NBA Finals. Create your entries up to you can miss up to 2 picks, kind of like a little bit like a round robin. More picks, extra ways to win, and don't miss a chance to try it out before Game 4 on tomorrow night. Sign up today using that promo code. Let me change this for you guys. TCESGPN. If you want this exclusive offer, TCESGPN is your promo code to claim your special pick and first-time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. Underdog Fantasy promo code TCESGPN. All righty, we are back on the College Basketball Experience. Another quiet day. We're going to ramp up the draft coverage here over the next couple of weeks. Go check out our top 10 draft profiles. I'm going to release 11 through 27 sometime next week, and then we'll start working with the NBA Gambling Podcast and start going over some mock draft stuff and all that fun stuff, because it seems like the NBA Finals is going to be over here soon. We got another coaches interview tomorrow. I'll tweet it. We'll tweet it out again when we're going to release it. But just want to have you guys make sure you subscribe to all the channels so that you get the notifications when we go live. The College Experience, we all come together on YouTube. Go check out Noah Beanick. Road to Omaha starts tomorrow afternoon. Most underrated sport in postseason as well. Colby is breaking down all 134 college football teams. And Northwestern State fans, go check out the FCS experience. Where we got you covered. And we work here, man. We work. We got it covered. Football, basketball, baseball. We got a little bit of hockey too. So, and then, like I said, go check out or make sure you subscribe to the College Basketball Experience on Apple, Spotify, YouTube. Leave a review. It really helps in the long scheme of things. Sorry, I can't talk right now. But yeah, I appreciate you guys stopping by the College Basketball Experience. It's another good night. Hope everybody has a good Thursday night and another edition of Mac Tonight, signing off on the College Basketball Experience. You better start thinking about yours. And we are out of here.